If you think about the soldiers in a war, the soldiers will face many problems. And one of the biggest problems of soldiers is not getting sufficient sleep. They switch themselves because the war continues for many days. And a human should sleep at least 8 hours. In this situation, the Russian scientists investigated that. Can soldiers fight the war for how many days without sleep? So they did an experiment called the Russian Sleep Experiment. In this experiment, the Russian scientists kept 5 prisoners of Russia in a sealed chamber and produced oxygen and a gas they had developed in their lab, and this gas didn't let a human sleep for many days. This chamber was filled with books, water, with food, and the chamber also had a washroom, but there were no beds as the subjects were not allowed to sleep. On the first day, the subjects were talking normally, but between the days 1 to 5, their thoughts were becoming Cree. On 5th day, they stopped talking. The gas which was produced in the chamber was very toxic in nature, and because of the gas, their behavior was also changing. Between days 1 to 9, one subject randomly started screaming with his all power for about 3 hours, and at the end, his voice stopped coming out. After checking, he destroyed his vocal warts. On day 14, the scientists announced in the chamber that they were stepping in, but after this announcement, the subjects were silent. They were alive. One scientist announced in the chamber that they are coming in, and that if anyone did the distrustful activity, we will shoot him. Confirm that all subjects step back before we come in, and if you all listen to our commands, you will be free. One subject said in the mic, "Yes, there was a mic. We don't want to be free. We want to stay here." From here, the story was dark and creepy. Before starting this experiment, they kept it secret, but it was leaked in Russia. And then the scientists got the command to close this experiment. So by obeying the commands, the Russian scientists quickly opened the gates of the chamber by which fresh air entered the chamber. And they have closed, producing the toxic gas. But when the gas supplying was closed, all the subjects started telling that please don't stop supplying the gas. We can't live without breathing the gas. We will be dead. This was the demand of all the subjects. They got addicted to the gas when the gas was not provided for the subjects. 5 out of 4 subjects started screaming very loudly, but one subject was quiet. It looked like he was dead. But after seeing the subjects, they did not eat or drink for 5 days. Then after examining them, many muscles and skin were torn. Yes, they had done it on their own. After more research, their digestive system was also running well. And the food they were eating was digesting nicely. But it was not food, it was their own meat. Yes, they were eating their own meat. When the Russian soldiers were trying to take them out of the chamber, the subjects were fighting because they didn't want to go out of the chamber. When the soldiers took one subject to the doctor for surgery, so the doctor gave him 10 times anesthesia, but there was no difference in the subject. The subject also fought with the doctor, and the subject broke his ribs and the doctor's hand. This subject was demanding to the doctor that do surgery without anesthesia. When the surgery was going on, the subject's heart was flicking. And whenever the nurse came into the surgery room, the subject spotted the nurse and started laughing. There was a general who was leading this experiment, and his command was to put these subjects again in the chamber for more 5 days. All scientists were listening to his commands, but one scientist took out his pistol and shot the general on the spot. And he entered the chamber with the pistol. Then he couldn't believe his eyes. He saw a creature which was completely unidentified, and the scientist said, "Who are you? Who are you?" Then the subject turns towards the scientist and says, "We are the demon inside you." Then the scientist shoots him too.